You are watching the DocTalk show.
In our future story today,
I was in school. I was about 16. I remember I had so much thirst, and I would wake up like 10 times in the night to pee. And during that day, I'd have to pee like every 5 minutes. It was a lot anyway. That's all I can tell you. And I would go to the tap because I'd given up on boiled water because boiled water was never enough. So I'd got a 5 liter jerry can, and I'd go to the tap and fetch 5 liters of water and gulp it down in less than, less than 10 minutes. I'd gulp it down and it was never enough. I always needed more water. And then the sequence again starts. So you have to pee 10 times and then you go back and fetch another 5 liters of water. So yeah, then I lost so much weight so suddenly. I just became so tiny. And because no one really knew, I went to the school nurse over and over again, but she just kept on telling me, I don't know what that is, let's wait and see. And she never really understood how urgent it was that I see a medical doctor. And yeah, until one time I was in a school dormitory and I was telling my friend, I was just venting. I was telling her I have all these symptoms and I kept on getting infections, and I kept on telling her all this stuff was happening. And then someone else in like a corridor between me and between us, there's someone in the next corridor, and she says, Edith, you might have diabetes, because my mother had the same issues and they diagnosed her with diabetes. So I was like, okay, diabetes. But at least I had an answer, so I rush off to the nurse and I tell her, you know what, someone told me I might have diabetes. And I think the nurse really thought I just wanted to go home. So she didn't trust me. She just said, diabetes is for old people. You're not old. You sit down, you wait. We'll wait 2 weeks and see. But I knew I wouldn't last 2 weeks. At that point, my eyesight had stopped working. I could barely see the blackboard. I would sit in class and 5 minutes later, my head would be on the table because I could not concentrate. I had no energy for anything. So it was really serious. It really was. But no one really understood what was going on. Neither did I. No one had ever heard of diabetes in children. So so it was quite eye-opening. So what I did was lucky for me, a few friends were going home, and I sent a letter to my mother, and I told her, I actually didn't tell her about my symptoms. I just told her, you know what, Mommy, I need books, I need tissue, I need this. Come see me on Saturday. And bright and early Saturday morning, she was there. And she looked at me once and said, something is wrong with you. I told her what had been happening. She was so shocked, she could not believe it, and she immediately got a pass out. We went to the clinic. That night, I was put on drip, and for the first time, I slept through the night, And the next day, they told us, okay, she has type 1 diabetes. They just said she has diabetes, and they put me on tablets. Little did I know that tablets were actually not the right medication. So for 3 years, I was on the wrong medication, and it caused more havoc than help. So my mother kept on, pursuing, looking for people who could help me. So somehow she found out about Dr. Silva and took me there. So Dr. Silva is the one who finally put me on insulin and taught me about type 1 diabetes. And yeah, but when I joined the Mulago Pediatric Diabetic Clinic, they gave you everything. They gave you the doctor's appointments for free. They gave you the medication, they gave you the injections, they gave you the strips, they gave you the glucometer, everything was free. So it really, really changed our lives a lot. Yeah, so it's been quite a journey, and eventually I've had a lot of diabetes education the last couple of years. I think 2 or 3 years. I've read some amazing books, and they've helped me understand my body, understand what diabetes is, how it affects the body, and all these things. So it's been quite interesting and a lot to learn along the way. So hopefully the fact that I've reached this far, I can actually help and advocate for other type 1s out there, because a child with diabetes, it's a lot of work for one little human being. So they need as much support as they can get. Diabetes education really, really matters. No one can tell you you're diabetic and then they don't tell you what it means for you and for your life. How can you go to school with diabetes? How can you work with diabetes? you struggle to find the balance. And sometimes, as the type 1 yourself, you have to have that at the back of your mind, and you tell yourself, I need to understand this if I'm ever going to beat it. So every day is a struggle. Every day you have to make the choice to actually get up, to work hard, to test that blood sugar, to take your injections. It's not easy to poke yourself 6 times a day, but you have to do it. So you have to make a daily resolution to do that for yourself, because at the end of the day, you want a bright future. Without doing all of those things, you're never going to survive very long. So you need it to survive. So that means you have to make every single day, make that resolution, and find a support community that understands you and what you go through and can help you make that journey a little easier, because type 1 is very complicated, very complex. A lot of people get so shocked and like, how do you do this every day? And you tell them, you know what, I have people in my life that make it easier. And really, honestly, there's nothing you can do to repay those people, but they are a blessing from God. And you can also be that person for someone else. So I've learned that not to take for granted the people we have in our lives, and to also be that person for someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else. So there are always people who are going to need that kind of help, that kind of support. I think that the last lesson I would like to share is, do not take your mental health for granted, because living with a chronic illness from a young age is very severe on the mental health. It can make you feel helpless, hopeless, and feel like you can't do it at all. You don't really have a purpose or any worth. I wake up early in the morning. I test my blood sugar. It's the first thing I do. It depends on how it's going. If it's high, you try to correct it. If it's low, you treat it immediately. Treat it with like sugar so that the blood sugar can come back up. So after that, you take your morning injections, 2 of them. Have breakfast. Test your blood sugar again within like 2 hours to see how it's going. Lunchtime, take a pre-lunch testing to see how it's going. Take your injection, eat lunch. Test 2 hours after lunch. After that, usually there'll be mid-snacks somewhere in there, in between lunch and breakfast, and in between breakfast and supper. And around there, you definitely, type 1s have to always have a treatment for blood sugar in case it goes down. So carry juice or glucose or something like that. And always have to be allowed to snack, especially in school where they're timed when to eat and when not to eat. And you have to be able to access a snack at a moment's notice. So I think it's important for teachers to also know that, and parents, so that they can plan for that for their child. Before bed, you have to take 2 injections again. Test again before bed to know, will I how is the blood sugar? Will the medication, have I eaten enough? Will the medication work? Of course, it will work till morning, yes. But you need to know, will the blood sugar be stable till I wake up? Because if it goes too low while you're sleeping, unfortunately, at some point, you reach a point where you can't even tell that the sugar has gone low. Like when you're sleeping, you're already sleeping, and you can slip into a coma. And a lot of children have died from overnight comas, unfortunately. So we hope with diabetes education, people can get to understand, how your medication works, what it actually does. Because a doctor can tell you, take your medication, but they don't exactly explain to you what the medication does, how it works, how it's different, how the different medications interact. So it's good to know all of that information. That is the only way you can make the right decisions. So our medication is free. There's a project called Changing Diabetes in Children that provides free insulin, free injections. That's the same one that is at Mulago, yes, for children. Dr. Silva is one who really worked and advocated for type 1s to be able to get this kind of help. So we owe him a lot. I don't know if he knows, but we are very, very grateful for all the work he's done. So I would say, Dr. Silva Bahendeka, he's changed the face of type 1 diabetes in Uganda. And we pray that he continues to do that.
You are watching the DocTalk Show.